Hello, everyone. It is another Monday. It could be a mindful Monday. It could be a motivation Monday. But if you're here with me, you know that today is the Other Side podcast. It's a Monday for us. So we can talk about what it's like to be on the other side of the mental health journey that we're all on, to just live a full, more authentic life. So as you guys know, I typically have like a topic and then I talk about it for a little bit and then I'm usually off within 5 minutes. But when I have my guests, I really love to dig deeper. I really love to have really interesting conversations to bring to you all so we can discuss and learn all together. And today is one of those days. I'm really excited because our topic is feminine versus masculine energies and all the things we need to know and the things that they're not telling us that we should know, all of those things. And I'm really excited because it is not just me. I have an amazing guest to join us today. And I don't want to take any further of her time. So please, everyone, please help me welcome Cathryn Bieg to the show.
Masculine power has a certain set of traits. Feminine power has a certain set of traits. They are naturally magnetically attracted to each other. They're not attracted so that one that's viewed as superior by the patriarchy can lead all the time. That's not sustainable.
There she is.
Hi. Hi, Janelle.
Welcome to the other side. I'm really happy that you're here. As everyone could see from the introduction, you are a mom, a wife, an entrepreneur, a dating coach, and our guru to masculine and feminine energy today. So for those who have never met you before, please tell us a little bit about how you became a dating coach, how you started to learn about masculine and feminine energies.
Yeah, well, it's so interesting. It's like becoming a dating coach is really funny because it's a really fun thing to say at like parties. You know, it's like, oh, what are you? I'm a dating coach. Oh, what does that mean? You know, and then you get to tell all these like fun stories about what it means to be a dating coach. Mm-hmm. But that aside, it's like the only way I think you learn this kind of information is, you know, good old school of hard knocks. You have to go through it. And so my story is, where to start? Well, let's just start with, I dated for a very long time. I mean, relatively, right? And people go in and out of dating. So like if you've been divorced and you have to re-date, it's a whole other thing. But yeah, exactly, right? But cumulatively, I dated till I was 36 years old. That's when I ended up meeting my husband. And so, yeah, so basically at 32, I got out of one of those like dead end relationships where you just have to reevaluate your life. Everyone has their like sick of their own crap moment. And I was like, what is my problem and what's going on with me? And I started to realize I don't understand men. I don't think I do. And who's going to teach us? Like, you know, so my whole thing when when I work with my clients is dating is nothing more than a skill. We've learned a lot of skills in our life. It's just not one of the skills. And you guys will hear me say this a lot, you know, all these words, but at the end of the day, we live in a capitalist patriarchy. So we get taught that academia is very important. You spend all your money on it and just, you know, might as well throw the money down the toilet and you're just going to get a degree. It's going to change your life. Yes, as we do. And then also you should invest in your career, which means a lot of your like personal appearance and, you know, how you speak publicly and all these things. And so all the money and effort that we dump into things, nobody really tells you like, and you know, relationships are one of the most important parts of your life. Like I've never heard anyone say, yeah, like, oh, this career ruined my life. But I've heard tons of very intelligent people say this relationship ruined my life.
Yeah.
So at
wait,
no
real
point,
quick, if any of this is relatable, please put relatable in the comments section.
Yeah.
Cathryn and I know this is tracking.
I can't see comments. So Janelle will clue me in. If you guys have questions or something is like resonating with you, just like put it up. But basically it's like, how do I make this long story short? It is like, I realized that nobody sat any of us down. None of our parents, church leaders, like, you know, mentors, anyone says, well, it's time for you to find an amazing partner who's going to support your life and your lifestyle, be your champion and your cheerleader. Let me teach you how to find that type of a person, right?
Yeah.
So here I
wish
was
I
at,
could take that class in a heartbeat.
well, that's the thing, is that's why coaches are the future. And you have to find like a good ethical coach, whole different topic, but
Mm.
someone who's going to support you and stand by your side, regardless of what you're going through, and help you see the pathway through
Mm.
is really important. And so I'm so grateful to do that. But how I got into it was like 32, I reevaluated, started doing my own, Google University research first. And then I realized that there's this whole world of masculine and feminine Carl Jung is the psychologist we learn about in academia. And then
Mhm.
Marion Woodman under him, who studied under him, is who I really follow a lot of her teachings where she goes into masculine and feminine energy.
Mm.
And basically, everything that I learned helped me realize that, oh, there's an actual structure and a pattern to attracting the right person. And how you work through those issues is to have a fundamental understanding of this way of thinking. And then you add your own flavor, generation, like style. You have to add that stuff to it. And that is hard to do, like all on your own, but I did it. Like I did it by myself. So 32 to 36, I didn't really know I was putting this map together. It wasn't until I met my husband, because you get these hunches. And I just thought, oh, I knew it. I knew something. It's like I knew what I was like research. I just my free time researching, and like figuring stuff out and understanding men. And so I worked for a huge cosmetic company, and I saw the same patterns over and over. No matter how talented, creative, beautiful, amazing these women are, they tended to have the same type of relationships. And it's really like low energy men. And by that, I mean like the woman is the ambitious one, not him. The woman is the provider, not him. Or there were other things, the women who are dating. So some of them were like married to like, they were the, it really is the masculine energy of the relationship. And then women who were dating, even if they attracted really great guys, they almost couldn't keep them. Like, there was no commitment level. So like, a masculine guy will sleep with you, but he won't call you his girlfriend. Something else. So it was a lot of that. And so I just thought, I knew there was something to it. So anyway, I went on mat leave, had a little bit of time on my hands, which you don't, by the way. Everyone who's been on mat leave knows. But when you're sleeping, you kind of are like up at 2 a.m. doing nothing. So I just put thoughts out there on Instagram. And because I already had all these followers on my Instagram page that were organic women I knew from the cosmetic industry, having dialogue. And then one thing led to another. I had one friend I started coaching. She referred someone to me who was my first client. And then over the last 3 years, I'm now like fully booked, which for me is like 15 people a month.
That's
like,
amazing.
Yeah. So it's like, it's really incredible how it happens when you intentionally and oh, by the way, I got laid off. So COVID happened to retail. So I got laid off, but it gave me all this other time. And so that's how I became like not only the educational part that I received, but the business part, where it's like I didn't know I was growing a business, but at a certain point, about a year ago, I think maybe a little bit ago, I decided, okay, this is going to be a business. I want this to be my job. I love it. I could talk about this for like hours. Guys through that.
All right. Well, so then you are obviously the right person to answer this question then, right? So let's talk about the differences between masculine and feminine energies. I would love to start us off with what are the big misconceptions? What are the things that we are being told that are just not really correct? That like we
Yes.
know about. And again, if any of this is relatable to you, please go ahead and put relatable in the chat. If you have a question, please go ahead and put that in the chat. We will actually answer your question. So please let us know. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'd really love to. It's easier to answer questions too than like freestyle, if that's what it takes. So basically, with the world of TikTok and all of social media, we get a lot of information and we get a lot of misinformation. And it usually is the person who speaks the most confidently and whose vibe we like that we kind of follow and listen to. I think we've all been duped, right? We've all had that moment with like that person, oh my God, and there's like some kind of scandal, which is like, we like that kind of tea, but at the same time, it's like, it's jarring because you're like, oh, I believed what that person had to say, right?
Yeah.
The unfortunate thing is like the misinformation can be so rampant. And so a lot of misconceptions about feminine and masculine energy, and I have this on my Instagram page, which is at Cathryn Bieg on Instagram. But it's that masculine is somehow preferable to feminine in the relationship. So masculine is the leader and feminine is the follower. That masculine is dominant, feminine is submissive. Masculine is like hard, rigid, and feminine is soft. So all these things that are misconceptions are wrapped up. And if you have not gone down this rabbit hole, do or don't. It's honestly educational either way, but avoid it maybe if you just want to start from scratch. But there's the trad wife, so traditional wife.
Trad wife.
Yeah,
Okay,
trad wife. It's a big thing. And so this is very popular in like right-wing conservative groups, like Christianity groups, like where if you want to be a traditional wife to a traditional man, you should act and be a certain way. And unfortunately, that's all wrapped up in the patriarchy. And yeah, exactly. And it's really akin to like oppressing yourself in your own home if you're a woman, or asking a man to oppress his wife in his own home. And so masculine and feminine is so much more about the equal appreciation and understanding that masculine and feminine energies are both required, not only within every human as a mix, but when you're dating, you want to look for, as a woman, a more masculine man. A man wants to look for a more feminine woman. This has nothing to do with gender roles. It has nothing to do with outward appearances. Like a lot of trad wife is like, and you wear these Little House on the Prairie dresses, and kind of like they're princess / Little House on the Prairie. And like, it's very appealing. Please know that when I'm saying this, and I'm talking about the groups that follow this, I'm not belittling them at all. I'm just saying that like they're getting the wrong message because of what our society has taught us to value in life, and where we are on the path of society and what true feminine and masculine is meant to be. So the other one is like soft era. I think a lot of women and a lot of like boss babes. Yeah. Like a lot of, bad bees and boss babes are like, now I'm in my soft era. And it's like, both are valuable though. Like you can be a bad bee in your soft era at the same time. And so what does that mean? And one is not better than the other. They're two extremes. And like I forgot who it was. I think there's a book called No More Mr. Nice Guy. And I've been reading that for my male clients to get a clear understanding of what's going on. And one of the things he says I like is like, he said, well, the opposite of crazy is still crazy. And I was like, oh, I never thought of it that way. The opposite of crazy is still crazy because they're two extremes. If you're all the way at crazy and you try to go all the way to the opposite, you're still kind of crazy. The middle is like and so what it is like social media and people these days, I think we really thrive on liking to have a binary and a black and white answer. It is either this or this. And so just know that a key misunderstanding of masculine and feminine is it is not a binary. There's a lot of gray area, but when you work with a coach, that's why it's important, like in my job, to give a clear pathway to what success means for my client, because it's too easy to say like, well, if I'm submissive, I'm find a great guy and he's going to dominate me and I'm great. But 3 years down the road, when you're being dominated and you know that you don't like that and you're being controlled and manipulated, you're going to think, what happened?
Right.
So yeah, so I would say like mutual appreciation, because masculine and feminine are just words. They're just words. It doesn't mean manly or girly. And they are just traits to describe what is in all of us humans. And men tend to exert less effort doing the masculine traits, and women tend to exert less effort doing the feminine traits. So those are our gifts, but it does not mean we can't cross over.
So wait, okay, so let's talk about what some of these are. Do you mind if I share with folks the tools of these? Okay. So here's explain this. What is this?
Yeah. So, okay, this is not all of it. It's not an exhaustive list, but it's just like, top, what is it? 9, 10 of masculine power. Like masculine power is viewed as like logical, giving, stable, rigid, direct, assertive, speaking, action, results, and reasoning. And then when you look at feminine power, people like to think it's opposites. That's why they think masculine is dominant, submissive. It's not always opposites, but it'll feel that way because it's like two sides of the same coin type of a thing. So feminine is about intuition, receiving a message, a feeling, flexibility, gentle, patient, healing, listening, emotional, being, as in like existing, and process. And so when you look at masculine power in our world of patriarchy, so just to give you a little bit of like women's rights movement, in the US, women did not gain the right to vote till the 1920s. And then they didn't even gain financial freedom and be able to get their own credit card, mortgage till 1974. That's
1974. I was
yes,
wrong.
very
I
recent
was
numbers.
just talking about this and I said it was in the 60s. 1974.
Yeah, the work was done in the 60s, but it was 1974
Wow.
when it passed. And I think it was RBG that passed it, like that,
Wow.
advocated for it. Yeah, pushed that through. But basically, so that's like not even that long ago. So basically, when you look at, and if we can go right back to that, Janelle, real quick.
Oh, sorry.
No, don't be sorry. But basically, like when you look at so let's talk about the world was created. It's not men's fault. The patriarchy hurts the men as much as it hurts the women because it's creating these dynamics that are imbalanced. So like when the world of working was created, it was created to give men the best chance to provide for their families. So all the masculine powers are what are valued. It just makes perfect sense. And so when you look at the list of masculine power, you may think as a woman, oh yeah, I have a lot of these things. But what I want you to think of it more as is these are the skills I have to show the world to get paid and promoted. If I don't show the world these skills, I'm less likely to get paid and promoted. Then when you look at feminine power, it's not that these won't also help you. A lot of women will say, oh, I have to use this at my job, especially if it's a lower paying job, especially. So like a childcare, a nurse versus a doctor. Yeah. Like a teacher versus like an admin person. Like it's funny how like the teacher's actually doing the work and then these other people get paid all these big bucks, right? So it's really interesting. But basically, these are not the ones though that get you paid and promoted and recognized. You could not have these, or men don't have to show these things. Like, and also they're almost undervalued. You're almost penalized for them, whether it's in your pay or how you're perceived. So if you focus a lot on listening, I don't know a single person that's ever been in a meeting and somebody said, you know what I love about you, Janelle? You're the best listener. You're climbing up that corporate ladder for your listening skills.
Right.
That's just not a thing. Anyone say, but if you speak up and you have the best ideas, people are like, oh, Janelle's really bringing it. Right. So yeah, so we're good with that. So I hope you guys get the point that like, these are just skills. And Marion Woodman, who I've studied, I like that she calls them masculine and feminine. I buy into her mentality. She did a lot of dream analysis. She said, no matter where someone is, gender spectrum, orientation, when you dream, you will still picture. Like if you're struggling with getting masculine and feminine understood in your own mind, the metaphors in your mind will still create a man or a woman. So that's why she was like, I'm just going with masculine and feminine.
That's so interesting. Yeah.
But ancient teachings, it's like yin and yang.
Right.
It's Shiva and Shakti. There are many ancient teachings that reference this dynamic of energies. And in my world with dating, because everyone gets a blend, and as you get older, you get much more balance. That's like the wisdom of life, right? That's when you meet your enlightenment, like in the yin and yang. But when you're dating, if you're a woman and you want a man who is directional and stable and maybe in our words, like has his crap together, right? Has his shit together. Like that, if you want that kind of guy, you probably are more comfortable in your feminine, but women have to cosplay being masculine at work all day long. And so what ends up happening is we don't realize we're cosplaying masculine power. We think that's our personality, And so we go out into the dating world and we don't realize that the skills we're using to get paid and promoted are actually not skills that men value in a partner. And you don't have to change yourself. You actually just have to go back to what makes you more comfortable. And so I have to say that like there's a reason why, especially in this day and age, women, especially career-driven women, have a lot of depression, anxiety, like other issues that are going on, because when you are acting under a mask all day long, you are naturally going to feel agitated inside. So when you actually take on your feminine power, you feel a little more relaxed. That's where that soft era comes from. That's why trad wife is so alluring. It's like, a man just pays all the bills and all I have to do is cook this food. It's like, seems so alluring. Right? But it's like,
I'm tired is what it is. I'm tired. I'm tired of doing everything by myself.
Yes. So women are playing a lot of double duty. And then that leaves our men confused too, because like they want, in theory, a strong, powerful woman. They don't realize that they want a feminine, powerful woman. So they might go after these masculinely powerful women and then realize that that doesn't fulfill them and they don't know why.
All right. If this is
It's
making
a lot,
any
right?
sense
It's
for
a lot.
you, yeah, please put your comments in the comments. What are your thoughts? It's not just me who's getting a bunch of ahas, and now I have a ton of questions in my head. So
Yeah,
if you
please.
want,
Okay, yeah, ask
yeah, I was
questions.
gonna
I can
say,
just
if you don't
talk.
want to hear all my questions, make sure you get your questions in the comments.
Yeah, I'll just start throwing things at the wall like I am, just to, let you guys know, like, this is my world. I love it. And this is what I teach people all day long.
Okay. So here are my two questions.
Yeah.
I'll let you decide which one you want to talk about first. But one question is, how does a woman who has been acting, who's been doing cosplay for so long, who now just kind of feels like this is a part of who she, how does she lean into, reclaim whatever her femininity? Like how does she like do that?
Yeah.
And the second question is, well, actually, no, that is my one question. And then we'll see.
Yeah.
You might answer the second question in this.
It's a really good question. It's like on this call is a different answer. Like my answer is always like, get someone who knows to help you. We've really lost the hierarchy of women teaching women and men teaching men. And like I teach men too, but I tell them first thing when I teach them, I say, listen, I can't teach you how to be a man. A lot of my advice is going to lead you to other men. You need to have a network of men, and women need to have a network of women. So I would say get with a woman to mentor you is the quickest way. It's like a jet stream to the end, right? We got to stand on shoulders of giants, right? But like what I see, the number one things are, we are women that are overthinkers. If you're an overthinker, that is your masculine power. It's like, well, let me preface it with this. When women are in their masculine power, we are in a defense mechanism, a defensive shield mode. We are putting on that masculine power as a defensive shield. So that's why we do it with men, especially if we have, we have issues with men, we feel threatened. We'll all of a sudden like throw out masculine things, which are like a rigidity, like talking too much. Like you ever go somewhere and you're nervous and you just start talking. That's masculine power kicking in and being like, we don't like it here, girl. You gotta like get out of here. What's happening? So it's like that. So it's trying to send you the message of like, you're not comfortable right now. So I will say that like anytime you're in your masculine, you're in your defensive. And so to get out of that defensive, you have to get out of your head and into your body. So if you don't already have an outlet to get into your body, whether it is an exercise routine, it doesn't matter. Like this is where it's not about gender roles. Like I had someone ask me, can I lift weights? I love lifting heavy weights. And that's my thing. I was like, yes, get that booty. You got to do it. Like, so, but getting in your body and not thinking is where your flow is. So you got to get into like a flow. So it could be like crocheting. I wouldn't say reading, even though reading takes us to like imaginative faraway places. That's the only one that I'll say, not so much. It's these other things where you're gardening, like you're moving your body, but you're not thinking that much. Something like that will help you like decompress and get more in tune. What you're going to do when you get into your body is you got to get in tune with what does the truth feel like and what do lies feel like. Women, we are natural like lie detectors, and our intuition is scary. Like the Salem witch trials, like, women are scary to men and to systems because we know too much and we push those buttons. That's what we do. Right. So like, this is our role though in society. That's how we survive as a species. Like we got to push those buttons and get to the truth. And so a lot of us have come off from where our truth center is. So once you realize where your truth center is, where we feel the truth, you feel good flowing through you. And when you feel lies, you never have to worry to wait for evidence that a guy's cheating on you or doesn't want to introduce you to his family for a reason or like whatever. You never have to ask him for his phone, already, and you start to trust it. So that's that. The other thing I would say is asking for help. I hear there's so many women who are like, where are all the men who are helpful, who are protectors, who are this and that? And I'm like, well, when was the last time you asked for help? And they're like, oh, well, I don't know. And it's like, yeah, exactly. So like, you can't ask for something if you're not receiving that something. That's just how life works. Right. So the other thing I would say is, let's see, I have two more. Oh, get into your feelings. Women speak a lot about thoughts we do not tell our feelings. So we will say, I don't like that. Don't do that to me. We say the end result, the outcome is masculine power. The process, which is the emotions, is feminine power. So it's hard. Like, you need to start speaking. We all need to start speaking to our feelings without blame. So if someone has wronged you, you can say, that hurt my feelings. No, nothing else. Let it hang. And it sucks for masculine women because it feels like we're giving up control of something. We like to say, don't ever do that again. I didn't like that. And next time I want you to do A, B, and C. We have the roadmap, the plan. We give them the GPS there. It's like, none of that is necessary. If a person really cares for you and you say you hurt my feelings with nothing attached to it, you're going to learn a lot about that person by just letting it go. And so speaking about being happy, sad, afraid, all these emotions that come up when you're trying to actually give someone direction about how to treat you, the feelings actually will get you there faster to an outcome than giving that direction. And then the last thing I will say is understand and appreciate men. That's how you get into your feminine. You have to really realize that the stuff you've been taught about men is not true. Like, men have just as many emotions as we do. They have just as many oppressors as we do. Sometimes, I mean, we don't like to think of it this way as women, and especially if you're a woman of color, and like there's oppression that happens, right? And there's systemic oppression. And even if something favors men, I want every woman to think of it differently, that like it actually puts them in the hot seat a little bit more. Like, other men are looking at them a little bit more. So like, they may not look oppressed from your perspective, but the guy who's above them sure does like oppressing them. And so having that compassion and empathy for all men out there, versus I think right now what I see a lot of, and this may be social media thing, where it's like we almost have a zero tolerance policy for men who don't know. And I don't think that's fair. I don't think that they have been taught what is and isn't the way to get in tune with themselves. They're discouraged from it as well, you know? And so thankfully, I think with the beginning of like millennial men are birthing the being a present father, going to therapy when you are struggling, talking to your male friends about your emotions. And I don't think boomers and, you know, above them, the mature generation or whatever you want to call it, they were not allowed to do that stuff, you know? And so, yeah, so those are all, that's the kind of long answer of like 4-step process of like, how do you get into your feminine is like, besides the fundamental understanding that like what you see on the internet is not the real. Yeah, that's kind of it.
That's really helpful. Well, at least for me, it is. Full disclosure, I feel like I've been in my masculine energy for years now. And I've been trying to do little things to bring out. I'm wearing a dress today. You guys can't see it, but like that's me trying to remind myself, like a cosplay in the reverse direction.
Yes, exactly.
Right?
But this is why, Janelle, like these things work. Like when people say like, this is how you do a feminine makeup and this is how feminine women dress. It is just an outward reminder that's powerful to us. It's because of what we view gender. You know, it's like, it's the reason why non-binary people play around with like how they present themselves in a gender specific way of dressing. They may love how they look in pants and they still wear dresses sometimes to kind of like play with like, how do I feel in these different moments? And like, yeah, I think that when you know that that's what you're doing and it's not mandated, like to be a feminine woman, you must wear a dress every day.
Right. Well, right.
You know, it's like, yeah, it's the difference that we feel. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a reminder for me to be softer.
Exactly. Yeah.
This has been really, really like good for my soul. I love this conversation. I would love to have you back so we can get into this more. I know behind the scenes, I've gotten a lot of chatter from some friends of mine who are like, yes, let's have more conversations around this. So I'd love to have you back. I always tell people, you know, so if you've ever been on my other show, Say That Channel, shout out to Say That Channel. I always tell people, please contact the person that you see on the screen. They're a real person. They will they will actually respond back. So this is where you can find Cathryn on Instagram. You can message her. She will respond. Certainly, I found Cathryn on Instagram. That's like
that's the real deal. Yeah, it's so funny.
And now we're like friends. We like text each other and everything. It's wonderful.
Yeah, Janelle was like, "Hey, you're a dating coach." I was like, "I sure am." And she's like, "I have questions for you." I was like, "Great." That's it. It's me. It's not a team. It's like me on Instagram. Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for sharing with us. I really do appreciate all of your wisdom and knowledge that you've shared with us. I'm really looking forward to when you come back. But until then, I just want to say thank you, everyone, for joining us. And I will see you next week.
Yeah.
Take care, everyone.
Bye.